welcome to the Courageous Self-Care Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Marlette. On this show, we talk about self-care that goes beyond bubble baths, chocolate, and wine. And it makes a difference because it is the stuff that is on the inside, and it takes courage. It gets uncomfortable, and it works. I'm very happy to be here today with you. You can go to ChristinaMarlette.com to take the self-care style quiz. You'll find out where you are at with self-care. Today, we're going to talk about some observations that I have been making. I love when I get a new idea and it makes me think, because guess what? A new thought can change your life. Has that ever happened to you? You have a paradigm shift or you learn something new and it sets you on a completely different path, or it tweaks the path that you're on for the better. I love that. And it's one of my favorite things when people say to me in my workshops or when I'm doing my coaching, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way before. That feeds my soul. I just love it. And I just have to comment, if you are not, so I do this podcast live and, no, not live, I mean on video and just audio. So if you are watching on video, hello. And if you're not, I just have to say, I got some new hot rollers and I tried them out today for the first time. And I'm just very happy at how my hair looks. It's the benefit of recording on my computer. I can see how I look. So I'm enjoying my curls. I hope you are too. And if you are just listening to this, you can go to the YouTube channel, Courageous Self-Care, and see what I'm talking about. It's worth a peek. I'm just so happy about my hair. Okay, on to new thoughts that you actually care about. So what I would love to share with you first is an observation I made while talking with someone in my family, I'm not sure who, about self-care and personal care. I had this realization. A lot of people think that personal care is the only kind of self-care. But if you think about it, personal care is about taking care of your person, like your body, the physical part of you. The self has the spiritual element to it, the I am, the big idea, that part of you that is connected to all energy throughout the universe. So when you're taking care of your person, like let's say you're going to the spa and you're getting your nails done, that is fantastic. That is definitely a kind of self-care. Or you do hop in a bubble bath or a salt bath. Wonderful. You are taking care of your person. And that is external self-care. A few episodes ago, I talked about the difference between internal and external self-care and how we actually need both to have a complete experience and be able to move forward. So self-care is taking care of that inner part of you, the self that relates to the 12 foundations of self-care, of courageous self-care that I talked about in the last 2 episodes. So I wanted to discuss that briefly. When you're taking care of yourself, consider, is this personal self-care of my person, or is it self-care, the self, the soul, the inner part of you? Okay, so that was observation number 1. The next one is about overachievers. Overachievers are very close to my heart. I just love overachievers, probably because I am one. So I know how overachievers function and how they think. There are 2 kinds of overachievers in my mind. The first one is the overachiever who has a lot going on the outside. And what made me think about this was I was watching a movie on Netflix called The Women. It has Meg Ryan and Annette Bening and Cloris Leachman, which took me back to my Facts of Life days. Anyways, great movie. And Meg Ryan's character is the type of overachiever who is doing everything for everyone without paying much attention, if any at all, to her own needs. I see this overachiever in real life too, not just on the movie screen. And these are the kind of people, women in particular, who make me feel concerned for them. They have everything going on the outside. Their lives seem amazing. And yet there's this quality to them that uh, people pick up on, that life isn't as rosy as it seems. And I know about that kind of person because I used to be that kind of overachiever. I did everything for everyone else. It comes from a really deep place of not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, not feeling important. And most people have one of those as a core belief. Fortunately, we can change our beliefs. And so that is possible. And we'll talk about that further on down the road. What I want to focus on here is just the high level awareness. If you are an overachiever, or if you have overachieving women in your life, what kind are they? Or what kind are you? There's the kind that pays attention to everything on the outside and is mainly doing things based on how other people perceive them. So, oh, I have to keep doing this because what would people think if I stopped? Or I have to stop doing this thing that I love because what will people think? Every decision, or most decisions, are based on that question: what would people think? And truly, if you examine that question, most people aren't thinking about you. That is the great news. Overachievers who are struggling with this persistent question that continues to go on and on. Most people are so concerned about what other people are thinking about them that they're only thinking about themselves. And that's fine. It is important to focus on ourselves, because here is the important thing about women in particular, is that we have the power to change the world, and so do men. At this time in human evolution, though, female, feminine, divine energy is pouring in. And we have been tasked with taking the world with that feminine energy to the next level. And the next level that I can see is a world where we have peaceful relationships, and that echoes out. We have love as a priority, and that can expand all over the globe. And we have nurturing. Women bring that amazing quality of nurturing to the table. The thing about nurturing is that it is most challenging to nurture ourselves first. Important information. It is challenging, but it's necessary, because a woman who doesn't take care of herself with both internal and external self-care is actually no good to anyone, because she ends up doing things with resentment. So that was what I noticed in the character, Meg Ryan's character in the movie. She was volunteering and taking care of her child and trying to hold her marriage together. Everything she was doing for appearance, not actually for feeling. And she fell apart because there was no inner scaffolding. That's why we do inner self-care. It creates the scaffolding of strength and well-being and energy that then echoes out. And what happens is, when we are giving and we have that inner scaffolding, we are giving with love and generosity. Most often, though, what I see from women is that they're giving with bitterness and resentment, like, oh, I have to do this because I'm the one who can do it the best. Or, oh, if no one will do it, then I will do it. And we have the martyr syndrome. That kind of giving doesn't serve anyone. It makes the receiver feel guilty. It makes the giver feel like a martyr and that she's sacrificing something. So that is a big key to the first kind of overachiever, is that there is self-sacrifice involved. And that energy is picked up, whether it is through awareness and consciousness or not. So the receivers, it doesn't feel good. So if you notice that you are giving more with anger and resentment than with love and generosity, it might be time to take a look at these 12 foundations of inner courageous self-care. Let's pause there for a moment. I'll tell you about the other kind of overachiever in a second. What I would love to invite you to do is, if you have a story of everyday courage, or if you are in alignment with one of the 12 foundations of courageous self-care, which were on episodes, well, the one before this and the one before that, I don't know the number yet, then I would love to interview you and feature you on the show. You can go to ChristinaMarlette.com to apply to be a featured guest expert. I would love to do that. Okay, moving on to the overachiever, type 2. This overachiever still has a lot going on the outside. And the thing about these two kinds of overachievers is that they seem the same. They get a lot done. They have great relationships. Well, it seems like they have great relationships. It seems like everything is beautiful from the outside looking in. And for the first kind of overachiever, it's not as pretty on the inside as it is on the outside. Now, the second kind of overachiever is more rare because this is something that isn't being taught a lot out there. But the second kind of overachiever is the kind of person who everything seems to be going on well from looking from the outside in. And when you get to the inside, and it's really about just the overachiever in the quiet moments alone, it's good news. Because those quiet moments alone are spent on transformational work, personal development, the inner self-care, moving through fear, having that courage to prioritize her own well-being. Now, I know what it's like to be the first kind of overachiever. And what that looks like on the outside is perfection. And I had lots of people coming up to me at different times in my life saying, "Oh my gosh, it must be so nice to be you, Christina. Everything is so perfect for you." And that would that put so much pressure on me because I was living to inspire others. Shifting into the new kind of overachiever, so I still love to accomplish things. I love to be productive. That really fills me up. I love getting stuff done. The newer version of me, however, has that inner scaffolding. And I spend a significant amount of time doing things just for me, such as meditation. It's a non-negotiable in my life. And I've been doing that for several years. That was probably my first conscious act of courageous self-care. I remember my mentors, Marcy Shimoff and Deborah Poneman, saying at one point, "If you're too busy to meditate, you are too busy." And I thought, oh my gosh, I do not want to be too busy to connect with the part of myself that is connected with all energy in the universe. That part of me needs attention on a daily basis. So that was one thing that's one thing I do every day. I also spend a significant amount of time, and have in the past to get to where I am now, shifting my mindset. So reprogramming my beliefs and my thoughts and the words that I use so that they benefit me from the inside out. And I would have to say one of the biggest differences in how it used to be from how it is now is I think it's even better on the inside than on the outside for me. I love being with myself, and I have more energy than I've ever experienced in my life. And because I've been flexing my courage muscle, it benefits me. I have so much more courage than I used to. So those are the two different kinds of overachievers. The one that looks good on the outside and is empty on the inside, and the one that looks good on the outside and is full on the inside. So yummy. The difference between the two, the solution in the middle, is courageous self-care. That is what has made the difference for me. Moving on, I want to give you a way to identify the first kind of overachiever, and it has to do with the storm. Oh, just before I say that, if you are interested in having the Courageous Self-Care podcast promote your product or service or your business or your book, you are welcome to apply to be a sponsor. The show is growing and the listenership, if that's a word, is growing as well. And this is a ground level opportunity. So it's very reasonable. You can go to ChristinaMarlette.com to apply to be a sponsor. Okay, back to the storm. So I go to a variety of networking events. Often I volunteer at them and I'm at the front desk. And there are two kinds of women who show up. The first kind, they come in with their hair all awry and they plunk their purse down and they say, "Oh, I made it." And you can tell that they are the storm. There's not a lot of inner peace going on. And the second kind of woman comes in, whether she has been flustered or not, she arrives and exudes this sense of inner peace. So there's no hair flying, there's no purse plunking, there is this calm. And instead of being the storm, they are the calm within the storm. At the center of the chaos is that stillness. And that is what courageous self-care gives to people. It helps women in particular become the calm in the center of the storm. So yummy. That is what I wanted to share with you today. We covered personal care versus self-care. We talked about the two kinds of overachievers and wrapped it up with the storm. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Christina Marlette. We air every Monday through Friday. Make sure you come back to hear more. And remember to go to our website, ChristinaMarlette.com, to do your self-care style quiz and learn what kind of self-care style you have. Thanks for listening. Oh, and I do have a quote for you. It is from Anais Nin, and it is, "Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage." Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.